ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सुमुखश्च एकदन्तश्च कपिलो गजकर्णकः लंबोदरश्च विकटो विघ्नराजो विनायकः धूमकेतुर्गणाध्यक्षः फालचन्द्रो गजाननः वक्रतुण्डः शूर्पकर्णो हेरम्बः स्कन्दपूर्वजः शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये यस्य द्विरदवक्त्राढ्या पारिषद्या परस्सतं विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्सेनं तमाश्रये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमजप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वक्त्रत्सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैः रणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घ्यते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। संजय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तम् इदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः। श्रीभगवान् उवाच कुतस्त्वा कस्मलम् इदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टम् अस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरम् अर्जुन क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदनम् इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हाव अरिसूदन गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं वैक्ष्यमपीह लोके हत्वा च कामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामस्तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतस्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि न पानुद्यात् यच्छोकम् उच्छोषणम् इन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा हृषीकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच हृषीकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तम् इदं वचः श्रीभगवान् उवाच असोच्यान् अन्वसोचत्वं प्रज्ञावादां च भाषसे गतासून् अगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः न देवाहं चातुनासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति मात्रा स्पर्शस्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां तितिक्षस्व भारत यं हि न व्यथयत्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभा समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते नासतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदस्तिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततम् विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद् युध्यस्व भारत येनं वेति हन्तारं यच्छैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं येनम् अजमव्ययम् कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ कं घातयति हन्तिकम् वासांति जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णानि नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णाः अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयत्यान्तः न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्योऽयम् अदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयम् अचिन्त्योऽयम् अयम् अविकार्योऽयम् उच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् न परिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चित् येनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवत् चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुम् अर्हसि धर्माद्धियुद्धात् श्रेयः अन्यक्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यद्वृक्षया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम् अत चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते भयाद्राणधुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम् अवाच्य वादां च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम् हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा मोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि येषा ते विहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे इमां शृणु बुद्धिया युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यति नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ता च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम् यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पात नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तया प्रकृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदात् नित्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्बद्धो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्धयोः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाः फलहेतवः बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्मात् योगाय युज्यस्व योगकर्मसु कौशलम् कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्ति अनामयम् यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्ध्यद्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिः तदा योगम् अवाप्स्यसि अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थस्य केशव स्थितधीः किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम् श्रीभगवान् उवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञः तदोच्यते दुःखेषु अनिर्विघ्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्रानविस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वतः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वसेहि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सज्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवस्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्यासु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् इन्द्रियाणामि चरतां यन्मनो नो विधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावम् इवाम्भसि तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वतः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमानमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत्कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान् पुमां चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिम् अधिगच्छति येषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यावन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋक्षति। ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे सांख्ययोगो नाम द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Embracing divinity through knowledge. Adhyayam 2, Sankhya Yoga. Sanjaya said, then Madhusudana spoke the following words to Arjuna, who had been moved by a false sense of compassion and was sorrowful with vision blurred by moist eyes. Sri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, at this intricate moment, where did you get this confusion and cowardly thinking from? It suppresses your divine nature. It shuts the door of the divine light in you and leaves you in shame as a result. Partha, don't be a spineless coward. It is not you. You destroy your enemies like a fire, don't you? Give up the despicable feebleness of the mind at once. Get up. Arjuna said, Madhusudana, you are the conqueror of enemies. Tell me, how can I shoot arrows and wage war with Bhishma and Drona, whom I reverentially worship? Begging a livelihood is better than killing the most respectable teachers, is it not? The worldly pleasures one gets after killing his teachers are only tainted with their blood. How can he even think of enjoying them? We may win over them, or they may win over us. I do not know which is better. But the sons of Dhritarashtra, after vanquishing whom we do not wish to learn, are standing in front of us, facing us in war. Confused by the pulse of compassion and not knowing what the right thing to do is, I ask you, I surrendered to you. Take me as your disciple and teach me. Tell me with certainty what is most beneficial. Even if I were to rule a bountiful world without any enemies, or of the world of the angels themselves, I do not see a solution to my sorrow and the misery I'm experiencing in my mind and senses. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, who strikes terror among enemies and who has the ability to control sleep, spoke these words to Krishna, the master of the senses. Then looking at Krishna, who cares for and takes care of all beings, he said, I will not fight, and kept mum. O King Dhritarashtra, then the master of the senses, Krishna, with a sweet and soothing smile blooming on his face, spoke these words to Arjuna, who looked dismal and dejected in the midst of the two armies. Sri Bhagavan said, you talk with the boast of a scholar, yet you are sad about matters that one should not be sad about. Scholars do not get sad with either the living or the dead, because I, you, and all these rulers were never non-existent and never be so in the future also. You see, there is this entity dwelling within the body, the indweller, that enjoys the childhood, the youth, and the advanced age stages of the body. Afterwards, it discards the aged body and takes another one. So the wise remain undisturbed with the changes and passages of the body. Look, my dear son of Kunti, the senses touch the sense objects as per their nature. These sensory contacts give rise to the feelings of cold, heat, pleasure, misery, etc. These feelings come and go, appear and disappear. They are transitory. My dear Bharata, develop fortitude. Bear them unconcerned. Arjuna, you are a man of excellences. Remember, he whom the pleasures and miseries of life do not disturb, and whose intelligence is firmly established in the constancy among the changes, only he can be blissful always. That which is not can never be. That which is can never not be. Those who have understood the truth experience the finality of these two observations. That by which all these are filled with, understand and know it to be deathless. No one can destroy this changeless entity. While the indweller of the body is permanent, indestructible, and immeasurable, the various bodies it adorns do have an end. Therefore, Bharata, engage yourself in battle. Those who believe the indweller kills and those who believe the indweller gets killed, both do not know the truth. This indwelling entity, the Atma, neither kills nor gets killed. This entity never takes birth and never dies. It is never absent. Therefore, it is not something that makes its presence felt out of some time absent situation. It has no birth, undergoes no change, is ancient, and is always present. It is not killed when the body is killed. Partha, he who knows this entity to be indestructible, permanent, without birth and changeless, tell me, whom will he kill or who will he take to be killed, to be the killer? The indweller discards old, used-up bodies and dons new ones. In much the same way, man discards old, used-up clothes and dons new clothes. Weapons do not destroy this entity. Fire doesn't burn this. Water doesn't wet this. Wind doesn't dry it. This entity cannot be cut, burnt, wetted, or dried. It is indestructible, always present everywhere, without movement, and is well established. It is beyond the ability of the senses to perceive and of the mind to capture. It cannot be changed in any way whatsoever. Therefore, understand it as such. Do not be disheartened. But, on the other hand, if you take this to be undergoing birth and death always, even then also you should not grieve. Oh, the one with victorious shoulders, death is a certainty for the born, and birth is a certainty for the dead, isn't it? Therefore, you need not worry yourself over this inevitability of things and get disheartened. Bharata, for all the worldly things, absence is the beginning, appearance is the middle, and disappearance into absence is the end. So why bother with them? Some see it, Atma, as a wonder. Some speak of it in wonder, and some hear it as a wonder, but no one really knows it. Bharata, this indweller in all bodies is always deathless. Therefore, you should not be heartbroken in matters concerning the body. Now, even if you were to look at this from the perspective of Swadharma, there is no need to be disheartened. Because for a warrior, there is nothing more beneficial than to wage war for protecting the welfare of the society. My dear Partha, only the fortunate warriors get such war opportunities, opening the meritorious pathway to heaven. Therefore, if you do not engage yourself in this meritorious war, you will be shirking your allotted duty and will incur sin. You will also lose your reputation. In addition, the world will forever be speaking of your shame. For a person of repute such as yourself, ill fame is worse than death, is it not? The great chariot warriors will think that you will not engage in battle because of fear. Having earned their respect in the past, you will now become the object of cheap talk. Your enemies will ridicule your prowess and skills and will speak despicable words. Can anything be more painful than that? If you get killed in this war, you reach heaven. If you win this war, you rule and enjoy the world. Therefore, my dear son of Kunti, get up with determination and engage in battle. Engage in the battle with a mindset balanced towards pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and failure. Then you will incur no sin. This is knowledge, my dear Partha. I have told you the perspective. Now, I will tell you how to practice it. Establish yourself in this perspective practice envelope. You will free yourself from the work result bondage. My dear Partha, listen carefully. There is no wasted effort in this practice. There are no undesirable results. Even a little bit of practice protects you from the greatest of fears. Kuru Nandana, once you are firmly committed to this practice, your mind becomes one steady thing. Those who are uncommitted to this practice have many a scattered and endless mind. My dear Partha, the unenlightened, attracted to discussions about the meaning of the Vedas and claiming there is nothing superior, engage in those discussions. Burning with desire, they seek the heavens, focusing on sensory pleasures and societal positions. They speak with flowery words about birth resulting from actions and about actions that are expansive and exalted. Being immersed in the wealth of sensory pleasures and losing their sense of discrimination because of that, they are unable to get the firmness of commitment to the prescribed practice. Listen, Arjuna, the Vedas are about the three basic natural attributes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. But you must transcend the three attributes. You must keep yourself beyond the two opposing experiences, pressure, pain, victory, defeat, cold, heat, etc. You must have firm determination in not worrying about acquiring things and in protecting what has been acquired. You must be firmly focused inwards without worrying about the body. Be like this, my dear Arjuna. When there is water available in abundance everywhere, what use is the water in a drinking pot? The Vedas have the same use for the person who has experienced and established himself in the one entity that is present everywhere. Do your action, that is your right. Do not desire result at any time. Do not undertake an action desiring result. Do not be attached to inaction. My dear Dhananjaya, with firm determination, give up the attachment to seeking result and do all your actions on this basis. This will give you peace in victory and in failure. It is said that such a mindset of undisturbed peace is yoga, union with divinity. Doing action without desiring the result is far superior to doing action desiring results and rewards. Therefore, my dear Dhananjaya, surrender to the superior way of doing your actions. Those who do work seeking rewards are kripanas. They take birth in this world and die without undertaking serious inquiry about the indweller. That is kripana. Okay? Those who do work seeking rewards are kripanas. With firmly establishing such a work attitude, one incurs neither merit nor demerit from the worldly actions. Therefore, firmly embrace and hold on to this attitude. This is action well done. It is union with divinity, yoga. The learned, doing their work with a firmly established attitude of giving up attachment to the result of their work, get released from the bondage of birth. It is certain that they attain a state of awareness where there is no misery. When your mind goes beyond the churnings of attachment, then you really become unconcerned with the past and the future. When your mind that has become a kaleidoscope by hearing countless things becomes steady by establishing with the indweller, then you become one with divinity. Arjuna said, Kesava, tell me, how does a sthitaprajna, a steady wisdom individual, firmly established thus in the indweller, look like? How does he speak? What is his appearance like? How does he walk? Sri Bhagavan said, Artha, when a person pushing away all the desires of his mind contacts and experiences the bliss of his own inner self, then he is called as Sthita Prajna, firmly established with the indweller. When he is neither agitated by misery nor impelled to seek pleasure, and when he is devoid of attachment, fear, and anger, he is called a Muni, a seeker of the indweller, with a firm and well-established wisdom. Remaining unattached everywhere, he experiences the pleasant and the unpleasant occurrences in life without getting either elated by happiness or deflated by sadness. His knowledge is firmly established indeed. In addition, when such a Muni, just as a tortoise draws in its limbs, withdraws his senses from attaching to the sense objects in myriad ways, then his knowledge is firmly established indeed. When senses are withdrawn from their objects, the objects disappear, but the inherent attraction between the sense and its object does remain. But this residual attraction for a sense object flies away in the person who has experienced the indweller. My dear son of Kunti, but the senses toss and churn even a wise and determined person and drag him forcefully, don't they? But when he places his mind in me with determination, then the senses will come under control. He who has controlled his senses has his knowledge is firmly established. When a person focuses on an item, an object of thought or whatever, when he focuses on an item, he connects with it. This connection, sticking together, gives birth to desire. Desire leads to anger. Anger gives rise to confusion, and confusion to loss of understanding. Unable to understand, he loses his discrimination and perishes. Controlling the senses and enjoying the sense object without attraction or repulsion, the self-controlled person experiences the inner peace. All his miseries die in the inner peace. Soon, his mind becomes purified and establishes itself well in the inner peace. For a wavering person, there is no discrimination and hence no focus on divinity. Without divine thoughts, there can be no mental peace. Without mental peace, how can there be happiness? The mind that obeys and follows the wavering senses carries away discrimination, just as the wind blowing over the sea carries away a boat. Therefore, my dear Arjuna with mighty shoulder, he who has withdrawn his senses from the object has his knowledge well established. The night in which all beings sleep is when the Muni is wide awake. When all beings are wide awake, that is truly night time for the Muni. Beings are awake to the multiplicity of things. The Muni is asleep to that. The Muni is awake to the underlying unity, and the beings are asleep to that. That is my addition. Okay. Now, just as rivers take refuge in the expansive and ever peaceful ocean, he whose desires take refuge in the indweller attains peace. He who chases desires does not. He who gives up all desires and lives without any attachment and without feeling, I am the doer and mine, attains peace. This peace, Shanti, my dear Partha, is a state of oneness with Brahman. Having attained it, he will never fall prey to attachment. He firmly and unshakably stays in this state even at the time of exhaling his last breath, becoming Brahman himself. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.